Hello friends, my name's the real Emile and welcome back to some more Forza Motorsport 6. Now today what you are seeing is an Audi 90 IMSA GTO storming around the Hockenheim short circuit. And the reason it's storming around there is because it's the subject of today's time attack car build. I'm going to be building a car from stock to compete with this vehicle around 5 laps of the Hockenheim short track. The time it has to beat on the time set by the Audi 90 was a 1:04.239. Now the Audi 90 to drive, well, it was relatively decent. It had maybe a little bit of understeer, not really too much oversteer. The brakes were a little bit hit and miss, and it has some huge turbo lag. The biggest sort of defining feature of this car though, the biggest challenge this car faced though, was the fact that the track was so small it couldn't really get its massive amount of power down. So, will we have any more success building a car from scratch? Well, let's go and find out. Now, the Audi 90 IMSA has a 630 brake horsepower, and it couldn't really get its power down around the track, so let's see if what we build actually can. And the car for today, well, it's not that. It's another Audi. In fact, it is the Audi RS4 Avant from 2001. Now, this, I've spoke about it before, this is one of my favourite cars because it's a car that can literally do anything. It has a big powerful V6 bi-turbo. It has lots of space so you can stick your dog in there. It has loads of comfort and accessories. It's got leather seats and so on and so on. It's basically the ultimate car. But can it also be the ultimate race car? Right. The Audi race car is R850 in PI, and we're basically not going to be going over R850. We have to make a choice right off the bat. Do we go with the Audi R8 V10 or the Ferrari 458 V8? Usually I would go for the 5.2 litre V10. However, in the past few builds, we have done that. So instead, I'm going to go for the 4.5 litre V8 from the Ferrari 458. Same sort of power, so that's really irrelevant. I'm thinking of going for supercharging because of the track we're on. I think it's really going to help the vehicle out. Now, of course, if it's a race car, it needs aero parts, so let's stick those on. The wing is fantastic on the back of the Audi. Right, let's go on to tyres. We need big racing tyres. Hockenheim Short is actually a relatively interesting track. There are quite a few straights on there, but there's also quite a few corners. I think grip would be the most important part to building a car to go around there, but you also need a bit of straight line speed. Now, if we was building a car to go around the actual Hockenheim full track, then we would definitely require something with more speed than handling, but in this case, we are going to go for handling. 2,800 pounds of weight. Once we stick the roll cage in, that shoots back up to about 3,000 pounds. That isn't too bad from sort of a estate car like this is. I'm not too sure on what the weight of the Audi 90 IMSA is. I think it's about 2,500 pounds. So we need basically more power. I think that's where we're going to pass the Audi 90. I think this is going to have more straight line speed. I think it might be a little bit trickier to handle than the Audi race car. But hopefully we'll have enough power to sort of make it all work. Or at least that's what I'm hoping. Right, once we've installed the race differential, now let's move on to the power. I'm going to try and remove as much weight as I can as well. The exhaust actually removes a hell of a lot of weight, in case you're wondering. Going to go with camshafts, so we can get a better red line. We're going to upgrade the supercharger, because that adds a lot of power. It adds a little bit of weight, but still, we need the power. Valves, just because again they remove a little bit of weight, they add a little bit of power. 746 horsepower. I don't actually know if we're going to be able to even get close to the PI of the Audi race car. That's what I wasn't really expecting. I was expecting us to completely decimate the race car when it comes to actual power, or PI, sorry, but apparently not. Anyways, let's just stick that on, like so, and yes, okay, so the cooling does increase the weight, but it does increase the PI, so we'll go with it. 814 horsepower. You know, I'm not sure whether to go with the turbos now, you know, because they do add, actually the turbos are a lot more. No, I'm going to stick with supercharging. I'm going to stick with supercharging because I want to build a supercharged car. We haven't built one in ages, and I love superchargers, so yeah, we are going to drag the gear ratios nice and short. We don't need particularly a huge amount of straight line speed. Now, this, I think I'm going to set the car up to be a bit more soft, because the curbs around Hockenheim are bastards. They really are just the worst thing in the world, so I think softening the whole car up will probably help. It'll also negotiate some oversteer issues if we've got any of those. Let's just soften it all up a bit. It doesn't seem to be affecting the actual speed stats of it too much. We are going to want a lot of downforce. In fact, understeer is going to be my biggest issue with this vehicle, so we're going to go all the way up to 100 pounds of downforce over the front. And finally, I'm going to put the differential to about 70% rear power. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because I think I was kind of tempted to swap this car to rear-wheel drive, because I was, you know, kind of sure that might actually help it out a bit. So, yeah, we've gone with a little bit more power to the rear. Hopefully that helps it out a bit. I'm not too sure on what the Audi 90's setup is as far as power to the rear goes, and so on and so on. But hopefully we've made the right choice. Hopefully this can kick the Audi's arse. Now, I did try something similar to this back in Forza Motorsport 5, and it did. I was trying to use the Audi RS4, which is the predecessor to this vehicle, and it didn't go very well. Doesn't sound quite as good as the Audi R8 V10, but it is still pretty damn nice. Ooh, off the line, we've got a lot of power. A lot of speed, right. Brake. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, we need to brake more than that. So we do have understeer. We have similar sort of brakes to what we... Oh, Christ, we have oversteer as well. We have similar sort of brakes to what we had in the Audi race car. The red line's just completely gone. We're going to have to brake into here. Oh, God, we're going to have to brake more than that. Okay, this is... right. Okay. That's... I wasn't expecting it to be that awful. I'm going to make some more adjustments to it. I usually wouldn't do this, but I feel like I'm going to need to. Right. First of all, braking force. Put a bit more of it to the front, and we are going to basically make it so the brakes almost jam on all the time. We are going to reduce that down considerably. Actually, right, let's go for a 40-20 split. And we'll also have the same on the rear, because the rear end did pop out every now and again. So, yeah, and I'm also just going to put more of the power. We're going to go to about 60% rear. Right, hopefully, this should make the car a drive. Hopefully, anyway. Because I would kind of like to see this beat the target. Is this going to be the car that finally defeats me? Well, this and the the Pontiac Aztec also technically defeated me as well, but we didn't really expect much of that because it was front-wheel drive and so on and so on. Okay, it's a lot better through there, although to be fair I did slow down a lot more. It seems to be quicker in a straight line. Yeah, having that braking force really seems to help. The way sort of the Xbox One triggers aren't particularly good when it comes to actually like judging your braking force correctly, so I occasionally have to run cars with more braking force, and in this case I've had to do that just so we can come on the brakes a lot easier. Straight away though, you can feel this car handles a hell of a lot better than it was doing a minute ago. yeah, I think supercharger was a good choice. I assume the IMSA 90 car has like the world's biggest turbos on it. In fact, I've seen them; they're huge. So yeah, with the turbos being that big, that's why they take a while to fuel up, and that's why that car has the most horrendous turbo lag. So yeah, 109.8. Of course, that's the first lap, so it doesn't really. Oh god, we're gonna go wide. We're gonna go so wide, so wide. Really need to be more careful on the brakes. If the Audi 90 had slight issues on the brakes, this has the worst brakes in hit. This is awful. I'm actually going to be honest. I genuinely wasn't expecting this, but this car is awful in this class. It's just look at the horrific amounts of understeer I'm getting. This is worse than, oh god, like I can't think of many cars that have worse understeer than this. And this is fixed. This is with 100 pounds of downforce in the rear. This has got like the biggest sort of amount of understeer prevention you could do, besides of course just converting it to rear wheel drive, and it's awful. It's truly terrible. Right, I think the car's advantage is in a straight line speed, but you just can't stick the hammer down because you've just got to worry about braking into the next bloody well corner. Right, brake into here a lot. There we go. See, that's about right, and that was just ridiculously slow. Still, 130 down there isn't bad. Please come on the brakes a bit more. There you go. Now accelerate. I'm gonna be brave. I'm not gonna brake out of here. There we go. Excellent. Right, I'm gonna have to brake around this corner because it's a bit iffy. Right, let's brake into there and do that, and then do something like this. Aha! There we go. Excellent. Right, I could be flat out through there. I definitely do not want to risk that. Right, brake early into this corner. Try and hug the curbs. I think that's probably the best solution in this car, is to just hug the curbs. Flat out in the Audi 90, not so flat out in this. Kind of auto crossing or rally crossing there, but still. Brake into here. I just want to take so much speed through here, and you just cannot. It was a 104 for the Audi 90. It's a 107 as the best time for the crazy estate car. Yeah, we're gonna have to go wide there again. There we go. Go. Come on. I don't know, I wish there was a little bit more in that diff. I think I might have reduced it down a little bit too much, but oh my, for God's sake, why is there so much understeer in this bloody well car? That's ridiculous. It's this. Right, here's a fun thing for you. Right, my R-Class racing car of choice is a four-wheel drive Dodge Charger. Okay, a four-wheel drive Dodge Charger. And this is worse to drive in every single aspect than a 69 Charger, which is sending power to the wrong wheels, and it has a NASCAR engine in it. It has 120 more brake horsepower than this. It's just, honestly, this chassis feels like it's made out of cable ties, it's a very weird feeling. It's odd. The controller doesn't really stop vibrating on this vehicle, which is pretty ridiculous. I really want to be full throttle out of here, but you just cannot. There you go. Then when you can finally put on the power, it's just too late. There you go, another 107. This is the worst car, other than the Pontiac Aztek, that I've driven. And in fact, I would rather drive the Pontiac Aztek than this. Yeah, I'm being serious. I would rather drive the Pontiac Aztek than drive this silly Audi estate car. This has gone just as horribly as I remember it going the first time round. We're 2 seconds quicker around there, though. And I've managed to take that okay. That's the first time I've actually managed to do that properly. Understeer into there. If we're in 4th, we can just about full throttle it somewhat. Right, brake into there again. Second gear, second gear, second gear. So we come out, maybe shift into 3rd. Yeah, I think short shifting on this might actually be a good idea. Is it going to be enough? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I'm going to shift into 4th. I'm going to power! Come on. No. It's enough for a 106.371. So it is 2 seconds slower than the Audi 90 race car. Yeah, ultimately, as it turns out, the RS4 Avant is not as good as I thought it was going to be. A bit disappointed in this one, to be perfectly honest with you, but never mind. Anyways, friends, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I want to thank you all very much for watching. My name's been the Real Emile. Until next time, farewell.